Hey guys, welcome to Michelle's Opinions. Tonight we're interviewing Lee, otherwise known as Captain. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about what he does, this channel, how you can contact him, while I set it up where I can actually do the chat. Captain?
Hi, my name is they call me Captain Lee, um, Sacramento, California. Just here to discuss my experience and maybe hopefully you guys can connect some more dots from what I have to say.
And you have a channel of your own, correct?
Yeah, I do. I do hip hop, rap music, uh, conscious type music, my own way. I think she's dropping a link in the chat there. Just check it out. If you like it, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and there's
Yes,
more to
it
come in
is
that.
in the show more notes, and he can also be found on the list on my homepage of people interviewed, my divine family. So easy to find. So let's talk about your awakening. What was your aha moment? When did this process start for you?
I'll say around the end of 2011, 2012, where I started noticing it at least. Um Pretty much logic got I got to the end of that and started figuring out the duality and everything and the construct of divide and conquer. And so I started talking to people about it, politics, things of that nature, and then the game's begun.
So you started seeing through the narratives that the actors
Right.
and the it was one big play that was over and over and over, like a broken
Right.
record.
Right. I mean, ever since I was young, I was always, paying attention, sitting back, looking how everybody moved, um, trying to figure out what was going on in the construct. Um, and yeah, it's about 2011, 2012, which was I was what 31, 32. Um, it sort of took me to the end more, to the next level, um, in the consciousness and the experience. So I just say it's like a different level of logic, even though it kind of keeps shifting. Just kind of pay attention to what's going on in the environment and and you can kind of decode it. Now I see it as everybody kind of gets their own coding. You only own Enigma machine, which is like a decoder. And so and once you figure it out, you kind of fine tune it to where how it works for you. A lot of people get earrings from what left or right, and some people don't like that, so they'll ask to stop and have communications other ways. So
Like
it's
number
personal like
synchronicities and things
synchronicities.
like
Yeah.
that. Yes. Okay. So 2011, 2012. So it sounds like you started off in digging into conspiracies and seeing right through them, seeing the narrative. What was the next step that happened in your life from there? What was the next movement that you made in your process of your growth?
It was just trying to figure out what was going on. The environment, things were kind of weird. I was getting a little suspicious of things, and I started testing. And and the testing is where I got the information I needed to figure out how everything was working, how it's all intertwined. I started seeing symbols, the understanding the symbols and different things, and store store shop names, car logos, all different type of logos, kind of. So started being able to well, first when it came to me, I was seeing all this stuff and I was kind of understanding on an inner knowledge, and I didn't have anywhere to go. I couldn't find anywhere. I did Google searches, all kind of stuff to try to understand this type of stuff, and just wasn't coming up with anything. So now, we got the Discord group, and we invite people over there that are starting to go through these things, so we can help them out. Now, not that there wasn't anything out there about this kind of stuff. I mean, there's stuff that goes back to the 50s, I know, and some lectures and things but they just weren't popping up on my phone. So I kind of had to go through it myself, um, until I did find the Discord group, and I did get into Discord through United and Awake. It's another
I know that
uh,
channel. Yes. Uh-huh.
yes, Nick runs that. So I
Mm-hmm.
got some of his experiences. I didn't go through the same experience as him, but it was some of the how it was working out. Um, it was similar. It's just my actual experience was a little different. a lot different in other ways. But I I come to find out that it's kind of molded to each person's experience in life. So whatever they understand or understand in life. So if you're like a computer tech, it's kind of coming to you in that form as far as computer motherboard, simulation, matrix, all that kind of stuff. If you're into just like more spirituality, it's going to come into you in that duality of good, evil, light, dark. But it's all the same thing at the end of the day. If you're saying Gaia, motherboard, Mother Earth, uh, I just call it
Source.
Mother, the construct source. It's all the same. Yeah, it's just a different way that it has came to us. So even though I had all these understandings that was coming out that I understood, but I didn't have any words to try to explain it. So once I started searching again, I ended up finding kind of reversing uh, engineering what I already knew, but finding what people were calling it. You know,
Did you have an
like birth
experience
above.
a of a dark night of the soul? Did you have an area that you had to go through that, which is becoming a common theme in the last few interviews that uh, people pretty much, you have to take apart, just kind of like what you just said, deconstruct and then reconstruct in your deconstruction mode. And in did you have a confusing time where it was a little dark and a little bleak, and then you popped out and then got built back up, or what's your
There was I mean, yeah, I mean, there was a seeming of attacks and things of that like that, but um, yeah, everybody kind of goes through that, I believe, or everybody, goes through their own way of where, like I said, it comes to the way you understand it in your experience in life. So, you know, I'm kind of out there in that street life, so some ways it came at me that way in that aspect to get me to pay attention and understand. So, yeah, I did go through some of those type of things, but that was and even going through those is when I was testing this construct, and that's how I was able to figure out kind of how things were working, how things were going on. Now, what's confusing at first, I wasn't sure what was really going on, uh, but at a point, I just said I stopped and I just kind of wiped everything I knew and started from scratch, and then started testing it, and that's how I was able to re program myself, if you will. So, I believe we all get kind of programmed from birth. You watch television, television programming. I mean, that's pretty simple there.
broadcast news,
And so I
broadcast
mean, just in your environment, society, like they say, we're not born racist, but you learn it. So that's a program. So for me, I see ourselves as like more bio robots. So we're programmable if we let ourselves be. We don't have to be. And that's up to oneself, but we have to uh, kind of be aware of it. So we have free will, but it has to be harnessed.
good way of putting it. And when you see like polar opposites, one side or another, usually both have some truth, but the truth somewhere is in the center. You polarize the
You're
truth
gonna know by you're
somewhere.
gonna know by your experience. I mean, like don't just believe what I'm saying because I'm saying it.
Right.
Search, because seek and you shall find. I searched. I was looking. Uh, my mind, body, and soul wanted to figure out what was going on, so it was showing me. Um, say if you want to say use an analogy of computer simulation, the computer was okay. He wants to know. Let's show him in a way that he understands because the language is so limited. I believe that's might be part of why we've kind of lost touch with that nature aspect. You see animals communicate in ways we just don't really we disconnect. From my opinion, that we disconnected from that using the language construct. So it's
Okay, and this is what I'm trying to show here by the interviews is that there's not a cookie cutter mold of any person that is, or any group of people that are, they're in one building, one church, one place, and they've all got it. This seems to be breaking any kind of paradigm, any kind of logic that man may have on who would be, ascending, so to speak, or, coming into this awareness of who and what they are. And you had mentioned to me before that you talk about what happened with you with this, new understanding through your music. Is that correct?
Right. As I was going through the experience, as I was decoding and how it was coming to it, I knew I kind of put it in my music at the time. So you could actually listen to my music and kind of see as I was going through it where I was, how I was interpreting things, and because my goal was to for people that like that type of music to ones that could read between the lines, the ears to hear and the eyes to see, they can get that message that they needed from what my experience was, to help them connect dots and maybe spark some awakening for others.
So you sing in parables.
Excuse me, I didn't hear that.
You sing in parables.
Parables, yeah, parables, metaphors. It's all like that. It's kind of hard to be direct with it. Everybody. I know everybody kind of wants to direct this, that. That's what. Tell me exactly what's going on. Well, there is no words for what's exactly going on. So you have to experience. It's a, I kind of see it as an experiment. This whole world. I call it a construct. And in any experiment, you have to experience. You're either watching something and seeing what's going on, or we're kind of in it. That's how I interpret it. Experimented with life.
And people
That's
can
how I
take
interpret it.
wisdom from others, or they need to experience it themselves. It's always a choice.
Right.
It's always a choice.
Now,
Oh, now, can we go back a little
now
bit
you talk.
before your awakening to the person you were before? Do you recognize the person you were before to the person you are now, and the differences between who you were and who you are now?
I don't know if it was it just gave me and more. It gave me more to myself. Like I said, I ended up reaching a dead end, and knowledge, and couldn't see. I started getting almost a little angry because of what I seen was happening. That it was a divine tactic, and you kind of get to seeing that you know, like especially being in the streets. There's gang, red or blue, left or right. You got a flag, you got a territory, and the same as countries. You got America with a flag, you got a territory, and it's no different than countries against each other than it is on the street life. But everything is in a divided construct. So, and just let me how everything's kind of intertwined with the synchronicities. I'll kind of use the street life as well as some things in like politics. So, if you're a blood, you wear your rag in red rag in your right pocket. If you're a Crip, blue rag left pocket. Democrat color is what? Blue, left wing. Republican right, red right wing. So it's all set up in the same kind of way. Now, as one would go through these experiences, I see the construct trying to get us to pick a side. Which, if you say light or dark, pick the light side or the dark side, and almost like you have to pick. There's only two pillars. How it tries to come at you, but you have to understand there's a third pillar in the middle. And I call that, which I also discussed with a good friend of mine, Bob, that's in Discord. It's that middle pillar. I choose not to choose. I choose both, because anyways, I'm leaving somebody out. So, and I'm not. I don't like myself being polarized like that. So, in that, I found that instead of saying, use an analogy of a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other shoulder, and they're telling you what to do, instead of them trying to tell you what to do, you're able to tell them what to do. So I see the spiritual realm and the physical realm working intertwined, but we are kind of a lot of us are ignorant to it. So the spiritual realm kind of takes advantage of it sometimes, and so unless we harness our will, then we're not able to be able to uh, kind of co-create.
And yeah, you're saying it very, very well and clear about taking part in this, in co-creating. People that are asleep are still co-creating. They just aren't aware of it, and they're not as potent as somebody who is self-aware. I also noticed in you, Captain, that you're a peacemaker. So by not polarizing, you're able to come to the table and see things in balance and bring people together in a peaceful manner. Have you
That
noticed
might be
that
the
about
Libra in me.
yourself? Oh, the Libra in you, huh? So this is
Yeah, that's
something.
right.
This is a trait that you've had all your life. Then you've been a peacemaker your whole life.
Yes, observing. I won't say peacemaker. I try to get people to look, put themselves in another person's shoes. So I've seen, just sitting back and observing through life, I've seen people argue over the same thing. They're talking the same thing, they're saying it differently, but they want themselves to be right, and so they're not listening to the other person. And then I had to say, hold on, you're saying this, you're saying that, that's the same thing. Oh, okay. So, and wars just started over that. And sometimes we just got to sit back and listen, and this experience, once we all go through it at different times, different stages. I don't see them as levels, I see them as stages. So we're teachers and we're learners. Someone might be going through a stage, and it might be difficult for them, and if we've already been through that stage, we can kind of help guide them through it, and then sooner or later they're going to help us through our stage, and just helps us get there a little faster, helping each other. So there is not, I don't see it as one person over the other. We all have this ability. Um, it's just us finding it and harnessing it. They try to use these constructs as magic and uh, demons and all this other stuff, and that's just to kind of scare you, because they use fear to control. Um, and so anything that they can scare you and fear you and get you to get you to
Manifest it.
conform, then
Manifest those
you're
own
you're nothing.
demons.
Right.
you know.
Then you just become a puppet. So it matters if you want to be strings attached. If not, cut the strings. It's and some people, it might not be easy. Some people, it is easy. Like I've went through, let's say, the depths of hell, but not everybody has to go that to learn. I'm kind of stubborn, so that's what got my attention. That's how I had to learn what I learned. I've known people that learned the same thing that I have learned through going through the depths of hell and not having to do that. So it's not necessarily that everybody has to go this way, that way, and do this to get this knowledge. It's going to come to you in the way that uh, you interpret things, in the way that you will understand and digest it. And so in that, and that you have to seek and you shall find. All these little terms you hear that just kind of just go around, these are clues. These are the reading between the lines that'll show you. I could talk to somebody and talk my ear off, but unless they go search for themselves, it's not going to come to them the way they're wanting to digest it. A lot of people might want me just to tell them. That's not going to happen. You're not going to get it the way you need to get it unless you search.
Get knocked on your butt. Some people get knocked on their butt.
There's a way.
Yes. Yes.
Like the little train that could get up on that hill. I know everybody knows the little train that could. Was named Thomas the Engine, whatever. He got up that hill because he had the willpower.
How do you view people in general now, that when you look around at people, no matter what their race, culture, color, Republican, Democrat, whatever, blood, Crips,
love them all.
How do you view people now? I mean, like, do you view a hierarchy, or?
No, I see. Well, we could talk about the old guard and the new guard. The old guard, with the light and the dark, you always had a guru or something that was the head. It was always a construct of a leader, and everybody else was followers. There's a new guard that's coming in. We all are harnessing our own abilities. We are united as one, but we all have a special ability. So when it's time for one of us to step up forward and lead in whatever's going on in the construct at a time, that's when that person is set up, because they're more experienced and more able to lead in that part of what's going on. And that's how we're gonna kind of get through this. And the old guard is kind of kicking and screaming on the way out, because it's both sides I see, and this is what I've dedicated the rest of my life to, is to bringing those together as one. So like in one of my songs, I say, I'm out here for the high most honest down to the most deceitful person, you know what I mean? Because I love everybody. Not saying that, things won't happen, that might happen, that might cause injury, but I still do that out of love. It might be a lesson or whatever, and it's because it's necessary.
So using discernment instead of judgment.
Right. It's we win or we learn. There's no taking no losses. That's the real. And anything that's a coincidence, there's no word as a coincidence. That's just a word that was made up to try to distract people from what's going on. It's synchronicities.
Have you had any deja vu?
That's my opinion, by the way.
Have you had any deja vu, moments? I always think when I have a deja vu moment, like, like in the Matrix. Is that the same Black Cat? Did something just change in the Matrix? Do you ever have those kind of moments?
I had a lot of deja vu when I was younger. Um, I remember, see, like I said, I was actually going through a lot of experiences when I was young. I just wasn't paying attention. I come from a very spiritual family, so I think that helped out a lot. Not religious, but spiritual. And I think a lot of religions has been derived from spirituality. If you start going back, you'll notice all the religions come from. You can kind of focus it into one spot where it came from, and they just kind of interpreted it the way they wanted to. And I believe that was used as a control construct to control the minds of the people, and as well as control their co-creations abilities. Because if I might be going off subject here, but if
No, you're
I'm just
fine.
gonna kind of ramble. So if you are able to control people's minds, you can channel our natural quote unquote powers into one person, one deity, or one um,
Event.
event, say head of a religion. So that person now harnesses all those people that's under in power. That's because we think that they may have a better connection to God. When in my perceptions that we all are a part of God. We It's like Shakespeare's, whatever, the person, wrote it. If you write a book, the book is of that person because they wrote it, but it's not that person. So that's kind of how I look at it. So
So
we're
in
co-creators.
comparison
I just
to
say don't give
old,
your power away.
yeah, to the old paradigm, then would be that hierarchy where people are getting their energy harvested to create something they want. New
Yep.
paradigm
So it's
is
yeah.
taking it back onto yourself, taking the responsibility, and creating a place that's good for everybody. Did I sum that up correctly?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're getting there with the new construct and the new
Oh, the old
awakening.
one's
It's
gonna not go out
No, they're
willingly.
going out kicking. They're going out kicking and screaming. They're definitely
That's
going out kicking
right.
and screaming. But I'm willing to take that challenge, and I know a lot of people that are, and and it's not about standing in front of nobody or standing behind them. It's about standing shoulder to shoulder. That's a new construct.
I agree with you, and I also agree with you that at that time there wasn't many outlets. Where now there's a lot of places that are putting out their journeys, their testimonies to help other people that are going through this process. And I've also noticed that they're going through it faster. Have you noticed that?
Ed has stepped up. I believe there was I think 2012 within the Mayan calendar. That just because everybody knows that, I'm gonna use that as a point. I think there was a point where we were looked at and things were changing to where we need to be, and things that were being purposely hidden and from people they're starting to notice.
Let's talk about Mandela effect. Have you been affected by the Mandela effect? If
I
so,
see the Mandela.
when?
Yeah, I see the Mandela effect. I never got into it like that. I see it and I was like, cool, because a lot of people use that as a starting point. That sparks their mind. Like, wait, something's going on there, and that's what gets them to search. And that searching and that will to search and wanting to know is what's going to bring that to them. You gotta understand that everything is made of this planet, this Earth. If you have a cell phone, if you got anything, birds,
That's right.
nature, cars, so everything is can give you can give you as codes in it to where you can decode what's going on around you in your environment.
And recode
So
it.
if you're searching, yeah, if you're searching for something, um, it might pop. You might go in your recommendations. It might just pop up in your recommendations, and that's going to connect a dot for you that you're missing.
That reminds me of that. What's it called? Sam or that Pandora, where they'll
Right.
ask a question and then it's like a random DJ thing, and then the song gives them the answer.
Yeah. That was a new. I think they're calling it Sam now. I did see that prior. Part of my experience. That was part of what I was taught. Going through my experience, and I just see it now coming out, and they call it Sam. But
What
yeah,
was
if
it?
you're, but it also give me a second. I gotta plug my phone in. But it also is it's not just like Pandora, But I mean, Pandora. What you got? Pandora's box. You got iHeart Radio, iHeart. So all those things you can kind of decode and get what you need out of it. Um,
I just
so
recently stumbled
if
across
Pandora's
that
not
one,
working for
so
you,
it was called
Pandora's
something
not working.
else. I'm curious
Yeah,
what it was.
Pandora. I just seen it. I didn't call it anything. I just knew that was possible. So, Pandora's box. If that's not working for you, then go switch over to the other thing. Anything frequency. It's all frequency. So you can change your radio station. That's the tone and the music that's in the instruments that are in the music. It's all frequency. It's all about frequency. Um, so you could tune into, if you don't like something, it's more negative, turn it to something more positive. It'll make you have a more positive day. So if your day's going bad in the morning, you turn on Pandora and you see something like life's hard. And you put another one, uh, no way out. Keep going until you find something that says bright shiny day. Listen to that, because that's going to change your day.
You said something interesting. I want to touch back on it. I know that there was people that would go and seek out gurus and things like that. And when they would be around gurus, they would actually feel their energy radiating from them of pure unconditional love. Do you see that we're heading into a direction where it's not going to be just a certain handful of people, but everybody's going to be radiating out those frequencies of unconditional love?
Well, I believe so. Not because I say it, not because you say it. Once you go through it, the experience, you come to that understanding that that's what it's about. It's love over fear.
Right.
Um, you can rule someone. You know, even with let's go to the old construct. You can love someone with. I mean, you can rule someone with love, or you can rule someone with fear. Now, someone's going to do more for you with love. They're going to have your back more with love than with fear, because if fear, they might do what you tell them, but if they got a chance to get you out their way, get at you out their hair, they might take that chance. So, um, you know, I believe love is very strong, more powerful than the fear construct, and I despise that fear construct because I don't like manipulation of people. Um, it's very even, uh, yeah, it's very irritating for me, and it uh, makes me in my mind. As I believe is we're still all slaves for the most part, unless we break free and use that willpower, because we're slave to money, we're slave to the fear, especially when uh, you know sometimes I don't want to spark anything for anybody, but sometimes you're waking up, the fear construct, they're going to test you. They might try to uh, discredit you, your credibility, then they might offer you money. They're trying to get you to pick a side, and then after that, they might use fear. They might threaten, your family. But as a lot of us say, it's an inner thing. It just matters how you look at it. Some people say it's within ourselves and it comes out of us. Some people think that we're being attacked by the government, whatever. It's all part of this construct. It's all part of this planet. So it's going to come at you in the way you think. And so if you think it's the government, then you're going to start seeing government agents and shit. I mean, excuse my language, but
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
it's you got to watch what you think. What you think becomes
Take your
reality.
thoughts
We've
into
always been
captivity.
right.
Yeah.
We have the ability to manifest. It usually takes more time to manifest. If a lot of people will write something on a bulletin board, and so then when they wake up, they see it. When they go to sleep, they see it. I'm gonna get this job. I'm gonna make this much money by this amount of time, and they keep looking at it. And they keep looking at it. So you're programming your subconscious to make that create. Now I believe that what's going on with uh, the new guard coming in, where the manifestation skills are becoming um, more quicker. And so in this, I believe it's teaching us to uh, be able to control our thoughts to a certain point to where um, we got to watch what you think. Because if things, let's get this way, if you just thought something and manifested right there in front of you, it could be crazy out there. So there's a reason why it
Mhm.
takes time for things to manifest. It's like molding like
Yes.
clay. You get a
And
piece of clay, mold it
no,
into a
actually, the Bible does say that, and it fits with this transition we're all going through, that we have a stony heart, and then we come out of this journey with a fleshly heart. So that would mean love. If you got a
yeah,
heart of
yeah.
stone or a hardened heart,
Like
um,
the old, go ahead.
yeah. That was it. That was all I was going to bring up because you're talking about,
Well,
the old guard and the new guard, and
right.
that's one thing that I've noticed is people that are coming out the other side of dark night of the soul or the refining period, their hearts are just beautiful. You can feel their hearts. It's just beautiful. And when you have a heart like that, you don't want to harm anybody. You wouldn't do the things that we need all these laws for. It wouldn't be in your nature. Um, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll go back to the old Kemet, called Egypt, the weighing of the heart. You're weighing your heart against your feather. So part of that spiritual experience, you're going to be getting tested in different ways of that. It's not exactly all that. They're just teaching you at the same time and seeing what you're going to do in any sweat situation and what is your true actions going to be, not what you say. What are you gonna? Are you gonna walk what you talk, or are you just gonna keep talking?
Right.
Sounds
Right.
good.
Yes. That's true. I mean, actions speak louder than words. And even when you're provoked, what are your actions going to be?
Right.
Right? That's a good
Exactly.
point. Very good point. So, and that you're right. We're tested all the time. And you can it's a new heart. It's a new way of life. It's old guard, like you said. It's not going to go out without a fight. So,
That's all right. There,
but
there. It's a losing battle.
for
It comes
them,
to this. It comes. Well, yeah, because it's either this. We're in a win lose situation. They're in a lose lose situation. So that's how I see it. I'm gonna use these analogies. I'm not saying this is gonna happen, but I'm trying to
this is
say
only
describe
your
it as best way I
opinions and
can.
your testimony,
Right.
so don't worry, honey.
It's not. But I'm just trying to use an analogy to understand. So
Mhm.
if let's say the people on the top, if um, as we awaken, they could destroy the whole planet, right? But then who is going to serve them, right? So they lose. So as we awaken, they could either conform to the new construct, give away the power, and most how I see will be forgiving of it. I don't believe we should drag them through the streets and lynch them, but because we'd be just like them. So or they can surrender, um, and we all will we'll grow as where we need to be as beings. And then, so that's the win to lose. They're going to lose because they get surrender, or they destroy the world and their families and they're destroyed as well. So they're lose lose. We're win lose. We
That's right.
might
I agree.
if they destroy the win we lose, but hey, what you want to be a slave the rest of your life?
No, and it does, and that's what it seems like is that we are finding this newfound freedom. And with this newfound freedom, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with the newfound freedom once you discover who and what you are? What are you going to do with that knowledge and those abilities?
But it
And
comes
that's
to
the true
respect.
test too.
Yeah,
On how people behave once even if they're listening to you talk, and they know now that they have these abilities within them. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? How are they going to use this? How are they going to wield that sword? You know, and you're right. The old guard it's not going to want to go out easily, but it's going out. It's going out because that
it
new
has to.
fleshy heart is a beautiful thing, and you don't want to harm. There's people that won't even eat meat now because their heart is so soft and so much love that they can't even hurt another living creature. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to cut you.
I see the change, and you know, it's definitely a beautiful thing. Beyond beauty, beautiful. There's not a word for what is out there. You know, that's more than beauty. Beauty actually makes that looks ugly.
Beauty doesn't do it justice because it's such an
Right.
ordinary word. And I agree with you. What's going on with so many different people right now? We really can't put any kind of real words to it that would really do it justice. Because as you come out of this with this new understanding, it's so profound that we really can't put the right words. But what we can do is talk about what we went through, the journeys that we've been through, share our testimonies, so that way we share what we know and then we listen so we can grow. Have
Well,
there
like
been any abilities that have been stirred up within you, or even if they've been abilities that you've had your entire life? Like, are you able to, read people's energies? Can you tell if somebody's not feeling well? I know we get gut instincts. That was like what I had in like 3D land. I still, our sixth sense was still there. It's always been there. It's like it's coming back to our remembrance so we can apply it the way that we want in the betterment, for me, in the betterment of humanity. So, and we all get that choice. But is there anything within you that has been stirred up more powerful or more palatable or that you have more control over since this 2011, 2012 wake up?
Yeah, the whole world. Like I said, I had to reset. So my whole the whole construct changed for me. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's different from looking at beautiful and ugly. I look at before it was duality. It was this or that. But it's actually just it's the same degree. It's the same degree. It's the same thing, just a different temperature, so to speak. I mean, it's a so where does hot end and cold start? It's a matter of perspective, right? So it's actually a one, but we put it into a duality construct. So, and people say, well, why do we have to go through so much hard life? Why is this struggle and strife? Because you will not respect the beauty unless you know ugly.
Gives you gratitude. It really does. I mean, by experiencing the low lows, you are so much more grateful for when you are blessed. And then you realize how blessed you've always been, even in those low lows. I think about that. I don't know if you know the scientist's name, you probably do, that did that experiment with the water drop in the tea tree, and he wrote love on one and hate on the other, and then he froze them.
Yeah,
And
Nick
the
did that
one,
also.
oh, he did? Wow.
Yeah, he did
Okay.
it with
Well,
rice. Yeah, he did
that,
one with
tell
he did
me.
one with yeah, he did one with he did four. Um, he did one where he talked to and said good words to, and he wrote on there good. The other one he talked bad to and wrote bad on there. I don't know if he wrote it on there, but I think he just talked to it maybe. And then he did one where he just did thoughts. He thought uh, that one negative thoughts, and the other one he thought positive thoughts. And watch his videos. You'll see his results, and then try it for yourself and see what happens.
Well, I know that I have tried that for myself with the when I go swimming and stuff. I love my water. I love it. Um, I look at it as healing and purifying. And I just watched something the other day. You may find this interesting, but those cell towers that they're putting up, those 5G cell towers,
Hmm.
well, they found that when you are in water or like a ship or something is out in the ocean, the 5G does not work. It cannot penetrate through the water, which was very interesting to me because when I am swimming is when I get the most profound understandings. So to me, that clarified that my understandings are not coming from a cell tower, they're actually coming from source. And we get these different things that come into our sight, just like you said. And when we need it, it's there. We hear it. It resonates with us. We get the confirmations. We're testing all things, and it's a beautiful thing. And I am doing that with the water now. Now I was talking
Well,
about the snowflake one because the one that he wrote love on turned
right.
out to be a beautiful snowflake,
Well,
and the
that's
other one was a mess. I mean, it was
right.
just a mess.
I mean, that's the water is more programmable from researches that they have done than a lot of things. Um, his life, all life, pretty much runs around revolves around the water. We all kind of need it. And
And we're mostly
if
water.
I mean, religious people, I mean, you understand that it is programmable. It goes back if you think about it, because what's holy water? You know what I'm saying? They're programming it. They know what they're doing. This is stuff that's just been hidden from us. That's why you think they burned all the books? They went through times burning books. Why are they burning books? Why?
Right. They're trying to hide it, and only certain people were allowed to know this. But guess what? The cat's coming out of the bag,
Well,
and
the
we're
knowledge
all
is within
sharing.
us. Yeah, the knowledge is
Yes.
within us. So they call this junk DNA. It's the knowledge is within us. You just got to release it. Like I said, I was experiencing. I started understanding all this stuff. And I had to go back and see what people were calling it. I had to go back to the books and see what they were saying from old ancient times. And all this knowledge is from the most civilized, quote unquote, civilized societies down to the most indigenous uh, tribes that are that have no clue what's going on in the technical field or even that's going out there. They just interpret it different ways. Their drawings are a little different. Um, just as
It
far as
almost
an
seems
X with a
like
line through it, you
indigenous
can get that.
people
You can make that into
untouched.
all kinds of different designs. It's a sacred geometry, the flower of life. It's all in that construct.
The people that are like are indigenous, we call them indigenous people, but they, they live off grid. They've got their own culture. They've got their own tribe, untouched by, creature comforts and civilization. They seem to be, they know this stuff. It's within them already. So they're brought up in that knowing, where it's kind of buried in civilizations. But it is coming out because you're right. Everything is in us, and there is no junk DNA. It seems like things are being turned back on that were laying dormant. We're
Well,
remembering.
everything is hidden in plain sight because they can't do anything unless they tell the truth. It's just if you interpret it differently, that's not their fault.
That's right. That's true. That's true. They have to put they have to put it out there. And if you're not able to have the eyes to see and ears to hear,
You talk about
they're playing
yeah.
by the fair rules by
I
putting it
mean,
out there.
a simple thing is an Audi. You see the Audi symbol on a car, and then look at the flower of life and how it starts with one circle, and then another circle that's next that goes right in the middle of their circle, and then you just keep doing that, and then you start. And all of a sudden, you got three of them close together. If you just do three straight out, it's the Audi sign. That's just telling you what there is. The Olympics, the same type of little hoops. They're just there. It's all in there. It's all in everything. You look at the Walmart sign. That's part of the flower of life as well.
I love the flower of life.
All right.
I do, and how we're all quantumly entangled with one another, and how it shows how we affect each other. By you know, you being the center circle, and then all these others are interlocking within you. What you do affects all of them, but then again, so does what they do. They're in the center of theirs, and you're in the outer perimeter. So what they're doing is affecting you. So, when we come together in this understanding, and the more people that know, the faster we're going to grow. It's just a beautiful time to be alive and to experience both sides of the paradigm. Do you
Well,
happen to rap
good.
on cue? I mean, do you ever just like flow with rap music? Not that I'm going to put you on the spot or anything, Captain.
You mean like freestyle?
Yeah, freestyle.
Yeah, I do.
Feel like
Here and there,
give
not
us a
much,
little
but I do.
taste of a little
No,
freestyle?
that's not gonna happen here today.
That's not.
That's not gonna
Oh,
happen.
don't push the envelope. Oh
Yeah, that's not
man,
gonna happen.
I was hoping. Oh, okay. We didn't really get the answer on now that since the 2011, 2012, and the refinement and the tuning. Is there things that you've like noticed within yourself that have been enhanced? Um, Besides, knowing that being self-aware, and has there been your abilities or anything been enhanced within you that you're aware of?
I wouldn't say enhanced. That's just aware of. I think we're all doing it. It just
Mhm.
matter if you're aware of it or not.
And so, some examples, please.
Your thoughts. You know, if you if you're driving and you keep thinking police is gonna harass you, pull you over, they're gonna drive by and he's gonna look at you and he's gonna think I'm gonna pull that guy over because you're putting that out there in the ether.
Good example. Got anything else
I think that yeah. I mean, it's the
about
same. Anything I describe is the same thing. It's just your thought.
do you feel younger?
You manifest it. We're co-creators. We're manifestors, and so it's like if you say, "Oh, well, man, I'm not going to get that job," they're not going to get it. You got to know mind, body, and soul. The three all got to connect. That's how you manifest, in my opinion.
That's true. Okay, let's give some shout outs to the chat, and let's see if anybody has any questions for Captain. Please type them in. Okay, let me try to scroll back up to we've
Also,
got
I would like to
Joanna
say
Williams, David
you got to be aware.
Boyd.
We talk about frequencies. You have to. It's the way you feel, if you're angry, things like that. You got to. After you start going through the awakening, I noticed. I know me, and then I've heard testimonies from others. You start discerning your frequency from others. So you might be feeling like anger, but it might not necessarily be your anger. If you can sit back and like, why am I angry? I don't feel that, but your body's feeling the anger, but your mind's not. So, you have to, or fear, you have to make sure that's not your frequency and be able to block it out at sometimes, or embrace it if you're trying to discern what's going on in your environment, because sometimes those are signals on what's happening, or how the
Empath.
co-creators, or how we're co-creating, whether they're aware or not, and it tells you to
Okay,
navigate.
let me finish giving
You
these
know,
shout outs. We got Bob Vance, My Quantum Affected Life, uh,
row your boat
Overacting.
gently down the stream. Merrily, merrily, merrily. Life is just a dream.
There's a lot of people here tonight to see you. Nice. You guys
Appreciate it.
have any
Thank you.
questions for him? Type them in and we'll ask him. So you address the empathy, and that's what I would call empathy, being able to feel and sense and then discern and how you're going to handle it. Are you going to give that energy a hug and a kiss and reform it or reprogram it? If you're feeling something dark and dense, are you going to reprogram it and send it out with a hug and a kiss, or are you going to harvest that and get bitter? Or so that was an interesting thing that you're saying that has been brought into your awareness. Co-creating, capturing your thoughts, realizing that if you think you're not going to get it, of course you're not going to get it. Thinking that if a cop's going to pull you over, of course a cop's going to pull you over because you're thinking it. So that means, we need to be careful with our thoughts, be careful with what we say, be careful with the energies that we're feeling coming in, discern whether it's coming from us or from somebody else and what we could do to help that situation. Anything else?
There's one thing of wanting and one thing of knowing you're going to get it. Now, sometimes
Oh,
I
I
do.
got you.
Sometimes, see, but I have a problem with manipulation, so I tend not to try to do that to others. So, in that, even if I'm, uh, you know, doing something with friends, I'm not gonna push that manifestation on them because I want them to be able to harness their free will. So if I do that and then they're not aware of this knowledge, then I'm kind of imposing my, manipulation on them, and I don't like that at all because I'm all about cutting the strings.
Sovereignty,
Exactly.
respecting boundaries. Yes,
Right. And
you
so
don't
you
you
got to
don't
walk
want
what
to
you
take
got to
away
walk
from
what
their
you talk.
experience.
Even though sometimes it's manipulation with integrity, but that's very rare. That's only if what's going on is very serious, and kind of try to rebalance. And also we have to be aware of the pendulum. Pushing the pendulum too hard one way, it's got to come back the other way just as hard.
Yes,
So
yes.
you got to kind of a little bit at a time. It can gradually change things to where they need to go.
Have you
And then
noticed that
sometimes,
you're
if we do
looking
push it too
younger?
hard, sometimes I see the construct will reset, which is probably a good thing because I've pushed that pendulum far before. So
Yes. Have you noticed that you're feeling healthier and younger looking? Anything like that going on with you?
I don't really pay attention to that. Like I said, I'm ready to go when it's time. It doesn't seem like it's not time yet, so I'm not sweating it. No fear of death. I'm welcoming it.
Oh no, yeah, the fear's gone because you move beyond that. But I've noticed that my body seems to be healing from some pretty serious injuries, so it's taking some time. But it seems to be going in a direction that I never thought would happen, and I am very, very happy about it. So I was just wondering if you had anything similar going on.
Always different ways. Yeah, I've been injured pretty severely a few times, but recently pretty bad. But it was. I'm still here, so I guess I'm meant to be.
Can't get rid of me that easy. That's what I say. You can't get rid of me that easy. I'm still here kicking. Or maybe I'm not. Maybe I
Doing
left
that,
that space and went
I'm
into
gonna keep.
another.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing that until it's my time.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, you guys have any questions for him? Because we're about to zip it up. If somebody wants to drop the link for the plane, that would be great. And Captain's YouTube information and everything is in the description box. He's also on the My Divine Family list on my homepage. And Do you have any final thoughts that you want to add before we?
If you're curious about this, what we're talking about, and you have that will to search and you search, then come into the Discord. You have a variety of different people from different walks of life, different parts of the world, and I'm sure there's someone there that can spark something in you. You'd be like, yeah, I remember something like that, and then they could take you on from there. So it's just about finding that spark, which I see is what the Mandela is. A lot of people pay attention to that. I don't like the name Mandela effect. It doesn't sound catch. It doesn't sound catchy enough for people. It sounds like something for me. To me, it sounds like something people brush off as crazy just because of the name, instead of
Or
something that some people take
commercialized,
serious.
actually.
But it does. But when you even when someone does look at it, they still like, hey, wait a minute. So it's something that can catch someone's eye, something that can spark their awakeness. The awakening for them. Um, you know, I don't see, and I've tried forcing someone to be awake. So something will happen to where they'll notice. They'll say, "Oh yeah," but then something in the construct will distract them because they're not ready for that yet. That's why I say we all go through different stages because we go through a stage when we're ready. There's not levels. I see them as stages.
Yeah, and if somebody came up to me 10 years ago and tried to, impose this information on me, I would not have listened. I wasn't ready. And then it's divine timing. Everybody in their time. Everybody, it will happen in waves. And some parts of this journey, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not easy. It's a refinement period. Some people call it the dark night of the soul. We did touch on that on the interview I did earlier today. And I'm going to try and bring more of that information forward since there are people going through some really hard times. And,
It doesn't kill you, make you
just,
stronger.
and yeah, it is just a part of this awakening. And don't do anything permanent for a temporary thing because when you pop out, it's just that much brighter. That's that much more gratitude, that much more beauty.
And also, I would like to say, if some people go through it differently, but if you go through it similar to the way I did, sometimes someone will say something to you, and you'll talk to them later, they won't remember it. Um, and so don't. I wouldn't say point fingers because sometimes they know not what they do. So it's about interpretation, what's coming at you at what time. Uh, you know,
Yes, and when somebody just, when people bring stuff to you, try not to go after them with attack words and stuff. Let's be kind to each other. We love each other, and we're all there for each other, and let's show it, and let's
hmm.
share what we know
You gotta take it as a
and listen
message.
so we can grow. You have anything else, Captain?
Just seek, you will find,
Seek
guaranteed.
and you shall find. Please like, share, and subscribe. Check out Captain's channel. He's got music on there. It's very, very cool. You'll want to check it out.
That's my
Peace.
piece.
Ah, splash your sign, say peace.
That's one thing. See, speech like that's a duality. I see that as two. Even the peace sign is three with the arm. So be aware what you do. Sometimes there's little tricks in there.
He's wanting to put his middle finger in it. Peace 3. C3PO. Good night, guys.